let's talk about fluency. Fluency is one of the main pillars of reading instruction according to the National Reading Panel, but it's one of the most often overlooked. Let's talk about what it should look like, what it consists of, and what you as the parent should be thinking about when it comes to fluency. Now, fluency consists of three main parts. The first one is accuracy, then prosody, then automaticity. In regular people terms, accuracy. This is, did you read the words as they are written correctly? Prosody. Do you sound like a human being? Is the text flowing and pausing and speeding up naturally to show that you understand what you're reading? And automaticity. Is the whole thing happening smoothly and naturally without a bunch of stops and stutters and frustration? Sometimes when we talk about fluency, we talk about rate. That means how fast you're reading. That is not the goal of reading instruction. Sometimes we'll send home fluency folders to families, and it will have something where the family can time and track the reading, and the parent goes, I don't see what the point is of trying to teach my kid to read fast. Well, reading fast is not the goal. Reading fast is not all of what fluency is, but it is one of the ways that we measure it, because if they are reading smoothly and naturally, it will start to speed up. The goal of fluency is comprehension. Now, this is where we get a little brain science-y. The part of the brain that can hold short-term information. I just read a word, I'm holding on to it, thinking about how it fits in the sentence. It can't hold very much information at a time, and the time period is very short. So if it takes you a full minute to read a sentence, by the time you're done with the last word in that sentence, you forgot what was happening at the beginning of the sentence. There's not enough space in working memory to hold all of the work that you just did. Whereas when words start to come automatically and we can string a sentence together into a pattern that sounds like spoken language and feels like spoken language, they're going to be able to understand it the same way. So, accuracy, prosody, automaticity. When I am in session with a kid and working on fluency, we're actually going to do at least 3 readings, one focusing on each one. They kind of stack on top of each other. First, you have to be reading the words correctly. Next, we're going to go back and say, okay, now that we know what all the words say, let's think about how this would sound. Where would we pause? Where would we speed up? Where would our voice show excitement or questions or whatever? And then our final read would be putting it all together. We know what the words say. We know how it should sound now, and we kind of think about it like as our acting read through. This is our like performing it, but really we're thinking about automaticity. Is it coming automatically? In the classroom, you might be seeing teachers sending home fluency folders so that the kid can read with you at home and track their reading. The teacher might be having students do repeated readings in class, like to a peer. A teacher might be having a kid do repeated readings of something like a poem or a speech, something that makes sense to practice over and over again in order to perform to the class, which is a really authentic use of repeated readings to build fluency. Really normally developing neurotypical readers who are not struggling to read, easy independent level reading is going to build fluency. And so that's when drop everything and read, dear time, or independent reading time. A lot of teachers promote that, and it can be really helpful for promoting fluency in normally developing readers. However, research has shown that when you look at the class as a whole, keeping in mind that you're going to have many kids that are struggling with reading, and if you put a book in front of them and say read silently, a lot of these kids are going to fake read, or jump around, or read a little bit poorly and forget what they just read. And it's a spinning of the gears time in class. And so if you know your child is struggling and you know that your child's teacher is employing independent reading time or drop everything and read, or you haven't heard any other fluency type activities going on, you haven't heard about repeated readings, you haven't heard about partner readings, you haven't heard about practicing speeches and poems, you might want to reach out to that teacher and be like, look, I've noticed that my child is not fluently reading at home. I'm wondering how you're supporting them in building fluency, or how you think I should be supporting them in building fluency. And you might find some really interesting information. Maybe there's stuff going on that you haven't heard about. But if you find that that's not being addressed and your child does seem to struggle and is very disfluent, not very automatic, not very expressive, not very accurate, then that's a time to reach out for testing, find yourself a dyslexia therapist, look into what the dyslexia program at your school is, and get them some help. In general, dyslexic readers are quite disfluent. And in general, disfluent readers are dyslexic. I hope this has been helpful and that I have helped illuminate this often misunderstood concept of fluency for you and your family. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to me on my website, mercury.tutorbird.com, and we can set up a consultation and see how I can help. I'm here for you. Have a great day.